Hi, my name is Kawan.
My name is Michael Lucero.
My name is Vitero Valdez.
I'm Joseph Ragland.
My name is John Lopez.
I look forward to telling you guys about my journey.
I'd like to share with you not to be afraid to hire a felon.
I bet you never thought machining could be a place where life transformation can be found. Hi guys, Mike Lucero here live from Up Industries CNC Machine Shop in San Diego. Welcome to the 4th episode of Breaking the Cycle. Thank you so much for watching this video and joining us on the journey of this series. It means a lot. Today I'm first going to introduce to you Darren Stotts, my shop supervisor. Darren was incarcerated for 6 years before making a career in CNC machining. I want to share with you why his story appealed to me and my decision making after being released from incarceration myself. Next, we'll go back to the fundamentals and I'll show you a step-by-step demo of how to square a block. If you'd like to skip around, check out the timestamp in the description below and make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss more videos. Now let's go meet Darren. One of the reasons I included Darren is because when I came to Rise Up Industries, there was an interview process. And, they talked to me about the different, segments to this program here and machining. And I didn't really have a full knowledge of machining. And I remember when I talked to the various supervisors that day, Darren really stuck out to me. And he really stuck out to me for various reasons. One was I saw his vast knowledge in the industry. I mean, from programming to being able to run machines, all the different things. But not only that, there was a relatability level there. And Darren shared some of his past with me. And by him sharing his past with me, I saw a lot of similarities to myself. There's still differences, but there was something that appealed to me there. And when he shared some of these things in this industry that could be utilized by an individual like me that's experienced the barriers and the different things that I've overcome, being in prison, addiction, things of that nature, I thought it was really cool, that I got to see somebody come from where I came from that's been extremely successful here. And that's why I have Darren here today. I want to talk to him about that. And I want to ask Darren to maybe share a little bit about his background and why he does what he does today for the people that maybe are looking at this thinking, can I do this?
Yeah, so Mike, you know a little bit of my background, but I'll take you back to the mid-'80s when I was getting myself in trouble, right? And I got in a lot of trouble and had to go do some time. And to shorten the story, when I got out, I got an opportunity at Peacock Tool in Engineering to get my foot in the door at an aerospace shop. Didn't know anything about machining. And for my first 5 years of my career, I got trained at an aerospace shop, which was, I learned a lot. Yeah. And shout out to them because they took a chance on me. That sent me on my path in a career in machining.
That's cool.
And so after that, I got offered a job at Lenco Racing Transmissions. Mm-hmm. And that was a racing industry, different industry. Same thing, machining. Mm-hmm. So I worked in their mill department for 15 years and finally got offered this opportunity at Rise Up.
Cool.
I thought it was perfect. I could give back some of my knowledge to guys coming out of prison because I got my second chance.
Yeah.
And I'm successful. And you can be successful after incarceration.
I like that.
So this goes out to all the shop owners and shop managers. Take a chance with people coming out of prison. They could end up being your best employee.
That's cool. I want to ask you one thing. I want to ask you when you got in the industry, what was it that appealed to you for, like, I know this could be a career? Because you had to have a state where you were just learning. Was the type of work maybe like it's very laborious mentally, but not physically? Do those type of things appeal to you? For somebody, let's say, gets out that's a little older, coming out of incarceration, how did this fit for them? Do you see that, or maybe that would be a thing that would work for somebody getting out that's a little older?
Absolutely. I mean, because it's not physically demanding.
Okay.
And like construction, you never lose a rainy day because you're in a shop. Most shops give great benefits, and so it's actually perfect. For me, when I got my foot in the door at Peacock, I wasn't sure to begin with. Mm-hmm. It took several months, and then I'm like, okay, this is going to be my career. because it's so much, as you know, to take in the beginning, mentally, to even just run a machine.
That really stood out to me. That's one of the reasons that I came here, Darren's story, because I think it's important, especially with our setting and with the way we're being trained. Darren has a no-nonsense way with us because he knows what we're going through, he knows what we're coming from, and he knows how to get us over that small little feat of the day. Like, come on, let's focus on, the task at hand. And I really like that. I think that's important, and not just for people considering bringing us into the industry, but individuals like this that have had success. We need supervisors like that in the industry that know how to relate to people like us. And I really appreciate you guys taking this time and hearing our story today, and Darren sharing with us.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
No problem. Now I'm going to take you down to the shop and teach you how to square a block. Up Industries. So now we're here at our Prototrak, and this is where I'm going to share with you guys about squaring a block. When you first look at this block, although it may seem square, being machinists, we know this isn't square, or training to be a machinist. You can see the various imperfections in it, but you could also see the similarity of square, why somebody would choose to think this is a square. So if you have a customer that comes in and you have stock material that's necessary for you to do a job, before you even start this job, you need to know that you are starting from square surfaces. So one of the reasons that I chose to do this is because I'm a huge sports fan. And being a huge sports fan, you got to see my supervisor earlier. That's one of the things we relayed on. And Michael Jordan was once asked, how did you become great? And he said it was the fundamentals of the game: shooting, dribbling, passing. Those are the things that made him great. And that always appealed to me. So as I got here and I began learning the various things, how to deburr, how to run the machine, how to change out parts, I used to look over in this area where the manual mill and the lathe were getting used, and I kind of wondered, like, that's older, that's archaic, that's maybe has a little more trueness to it. Like, when do I get to learn over there? And as I got the opportunity to learn over here, I realized that some people just don't know how to square a block. The more I looked online at YouTube, the more I realized a lot of people don't know how to do it. There's a lot of various ways, but it's very vital for this industry. So this is a fundamental to machining, and that's why we're going to square a block today. So we're going to go through a process here to square it up. You guys are machinists, you kind of know the process, but just for those people that don't know, we're going to do some of the basics. We're using the Prototrak here. This Prototrak has already been trammed. It's already been, indicated, so we know that this is true. We know that this is straight. Now we need to translate that to our block, and this is the process we're going to do that in. So in utilizing this, a little different than the Haas, the other CNCs we use, we have to actually input the program we're going to use, do everything manually. So I already put in a conversational piece. So we're going to start at our XO0. We're going to run through, our XY0, and we're going to our XY3, which I already have set up in here. So we're basically going to run this process, which I already have set up. We have it in the vise. We have it sitting on 2 parallels. Now the reason we're just doing this is because we're going to get the biggest face first. And if you could see this, we have low points and high points on this. So basically, I'm going to get this down to one true piece, and that's going to be our first step. Basically right here, I'm just setting my Z. You can see we're at the low point. We're just going to start there, and we're going to run through. So now you can pretty much see that we have this flat surface. We took quite a bit off, but we don't have the high and lows that exist. So now I know that this is a flat surface. I'm going to now translate this backwards through a series where I put this flat against the vise, and I'm going to introduce a new piece that's going to create a tangent. That way, if you don't have a perfectly flat surface, it'll create that by having this rod in there. And at this point, I'm going to continue through the series to face this. So as you see, I've turned the block. We're going to face this side now. We have the rod that creates this tangent, straightens this out. It's sitting on a higher parallel. This is a true back. We're going to get this square to that now. Now we have our block out of here. We've only faced two sides, but you could already see the difference in these sides. I mean, obviously, you see this is not square or lined up at all. But just these two back sides that we've done already, you see the square and trueness to this. So because of this, we're gonna continue on our process backwards and now get our third side, which gives us 3/4. So now we have three sides done. So because of that, we're gonna sit it in here different at this point. I'm gonna take this tangent rod out, get rid of this at this point. I'm gonna remove the block. Faced, faced, faced. So I'm gonna remove this higher parallel that was holding up that rod. And I'm gonna put an equally sized parallel. Let me blow these off real quick. I'm going to seat these in here kind of low because I want a good portion of this face to be sitting against this vise to make sure everything's lined up. So now we have these three sides. This is going to sit on here, and now when it sits in there, this is flat, this is square, this is square. So now you can see how all these sides line up. These both are flat against the vices. Now when we cut the top, the fourth side, we know this will be the last face that's necessary to create that fourth side. At this point you want to tap it down. Our last face. So this is standing on the side. As I turn it like this, you can see the the sides that we worked our way around to. We know that these are square. A little more obvious. But also with their squareness, you can see how far off the sides are now. So the last remaining parts that we have are the two sides. Once that's done, we're gonna have a very square block compared to what we started from. So now we have all four of those sides. So obviously we gotta switch to the end pieces. Now in order for that to take place, I put this end mill in here now. And what we're gonna do is I'm barely just gonna skim the side. I'm gonna just face about that much of it. The reason I'm doing this is because when I flip the block, I'm now going to have a square portion that I could seat perfectly down on that parallel. Tap that down, that'll be accurate, face one side, then we have 5 sides done. Flip that, finish it off. So we're almost there. This is just not necessarily a trick, but just part of the process in order to get enough of it faced so it could seat in the parallels correctly. So at this point, we faced all these sides, as you can see, but I kind of did this aggressive for a visual so you could see. I just faced this much, so we know that this is square. We've cleaned this up, we've taken out our parallels, but I do have a parallel that's in there flat. So you could see the indentation, so it could sit there. That's flat, this is flat, this is flat. I'm gonna close this down on it. You can see the height difference, because that's not faced yet, and the necessity of that side. I'm still gonna tap this down just to be safe. Get this back to my program, which is the same conversational. It exceeds what's here, so I'm gonna use it still. So at this point, we have face, 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 and one side. So if our block only consisted of that, we're good. But it doesn't. We have one last piece. The cool part is all the different tricks, all the different methods, and for those of you that machine, you know these various ways and similar ways that you can do so. Basically, at this point, we have two parallels. We're going to seat this as far as we can down. And what's going to happen is we know that's square, so we can just take off the top. However, one of the important things that I've not been missing out but doing in between is very necessary for you to clean up your sides, because we know that any type of chips, we know that any type of debris on there could definitely mess up the process. So that's done. We're going to seat this in there. We're going to get ready for the last piece. So as you can see, we're done at this point. We have 6 face sides, and there's a whole lot difference from there. We can get very technical. We could put a dial indicator on here. We could do a lot of measurements, but this is basically to get a piece of stock ready for a customer. I thought this was important, you know, understanding fundamentals of, you know, the apprenticeship here of the trade. Rise Up's teaching more than just pushing a button, operating a machine, changing coolant. They're trying to teach us the basics, the necessary things for a successful career in this field. I really appreciate your time today. I really appreciate you watching the video and hearing my story. I thank you. And we have a comment section. If you feel free to leave a comment, I hope you do so. What could you show me? What could you teach me? I'm always willing to learn, just like the other men are here. I want you to ask you a question too. Where were you at in your journey? How could you help contribute to us? What is there you see we could do better? We appreciate it. We appreciate your input. Thank you for watching us today, and stay tuned to next month's installment.